Hey guys, from time to time we get requests to make some videos to help you guys out. We're so busy working on projects and doing things that we end up um, not just making this YouTube channel a little bit bigger than it can be. So I'll try to get on here more often and update and add some more stuff to YouTube. So this video is going to show you how to just add a simple page, WordPress page, and edit it with Elementor. So what I usually do is when I first come in here is I'll go to appearance and then see what kind of themes are in here. I always leave one base theme in here, so we'll just leave the latest one in here, which is this 2025 one, and then we'll go ahead and activate it. And then we're going to go ahead and get rid of the other ones because we don't really need them. And they take space and they can also get hacked if you leave them on there. So it's nice to just get rid of them, delete. I'm going down here and deleting them. You're not going to hurt anything. All right. So go ahead and theme details and delete. And then as a precaution, what I usually do is I will go ahead and add another plugin called Updraft Plus. Now, some hosting environments like Kinsta and other ones only allow one backup per month through this plugin. But you could use any kind of backup plugin. So if you wanted to just type in backup here, you can do that, and then you can go through and read all these other backup plugins. I just use this one just because it's easy, it's fast. You can move websites pretty quick with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and activate it, and it's gonna show up over here on the left, and it also says press start, and it starts walking you through this. It's a little annoying, but just click on settings here under backup, and then we're gonna click on backup now, and then it has my database, okay? And then it also has my files. All right. So this is a brand new installation, brand new website, nothing on this website. So I'll click on backup now, and I'll show you the front end of this because right now what's um, active is the base theme, right? So I'll go ahead and refresh this, and you're going to see that 2025 theme. It does nothing, right? So it still has the Gutenberg blocks on it, which I hate, and then it has Elementor. And then what I like to do also is add another plugin called Classic Editor. Because right now, if I go to pages, go to all pages, and then I go, let me just add a new page. And we're just going to call this our test page. But look how this comes up, this blocks thing. Yeah, it shows me all these cool templates that I can do, and I can select one of these and start messing around with it. But then it gets all weird when it's on this page. I don't really like it. So I'm just going to call this my test Elementor page. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and publish it and publish it. So it does all this weird jaggy stuff. But see how this is kind of clunky? And I could also go edit with Elementor directly from here and then bypass all this. But a better visual environment is the classic editor. So we're going to go back over to WordPress. I'm going to go back to plugins. I'm going to select add new. And I'm going to grab this classic editor. Notice it has 10 million active installs. People hate the Gutenberg, editor. Some people like it. Most people hate it. So click install, and it'll show you. You'll see the difference here in a minute. Click activate, and then don't worry about updating the Pro yet. So let's go back to the page. Let's take a look how it looks in the back end now. So I'll go. So notice how none of these have the word Elementor after it because I have not edited them Elementor yet. But see how this interface is a lot better, a little easier to understand. You published your dates. It's just easier, right? So now I have this page, and if I look at it on the front end, it does nothing. It's just using the default theme. So you can continue to use the default theme, but for functionality's sake, what I like to do and what you should do is add this other theme called Hello Elementor, right? So you go to Customize. I'm sorry, wrong. We're going to add the theme. Sorry, add new theme up here in the top left, and then we're going to see here it is right here. It pops up right away. Astra is also pretty good if you want to have some of the functions with that, but what happens is you start going into one template thing and you start using those things and you jump over to Elementor, then you forget how you edited stuff and it gets a little confusing. So we're going to go ahead and install this Elementor theme, and now we've got the base theme here. So the last thing we like to do is to create a child theme of that. So in case you need to make any kind of customizations to the code, okay, that you'll be able to do that. Now, some people just leave the theme there, but what happens is the theme may break, you may have problems or whatever. So with your customizations, when you start editing all the files that are in here, so if I connected to this and I downloaded some files, PHP or whatever, and I edited them, put them back on here, the next time that this updates, it's going to break, right? So there's another plugin called Child Theme. You just type that in, child theme at the top. and then child theme configurator. Just click on install now. And you could use other ones. There's other ones too, but you can do it. What this does is going to basically create a duplicate of the theme for you. So you can go over to tools and you go to child themes here. And now I've got, okay, create new child theme, right? Hello Elementor. That's the one I want to create the child theme for. So I click on analyze. It's okay. This theme loads. Hello Elementor child, right? Primary style sheet. You can leave all this stuff kind of defaulted. Do not force dependencies, blah, blah, blah. Attributes, don't worry about any of this stuff. So you go ahead and click on create new child theme. And now it's going to go ahead and create this new theme for me. And then it says select an action, create new, configure an existing child theme, duplicate, reset. So leave configure, and let's take a look here. Primary, do not add, and then just leave it all defaulted. Click on configure child theme. And then there you go. Okay, so child theme appears to be functioning correctly. Let's take a look. Okay, everything seems to be done. So now if I go over to appearance and go to themes, you'll see now you have this exact duplicate of this theme. So I'll activate this one. So now I have this completely new theme that I can use to adjust and test and update and whatever. So I'll show you how this looks on this back end here. So I'm going to connect via FTP, which is File Transfer Protocol, using FileZilla, and I'm going to come in here. Let's see if I have access. And I'm just want to. The reason I'm doing this, I just want to show you the difference in the back end. So when you log in, your folder directory may look a little different, but if you go ahead and click on public, and then you're going to see there's a bunch of other sites in here I'm testing on. But here's the main website. So click on content. And then you're going to go to themes. And now you'll see this child theme that's in here. And then you see the regular Hello Elementor theme. So if I double click this, I'll see just these basic things that are in here. So these, if I wanted to make my website do some cool stuff, I can add the functions in here. Now, if I look at the same thing in Elementor, it has everything else, all the other supporting documents. So the child theme is only going to give me those things that I need. So if I want to make the CSS look a certain way and that. Well, Hello Elementor is an Elementor. You'll kind of like bypass a lot of this stuff and you will end up using what's built in the Elementor, but this allows you to do extended functionality if you're not using a plugin in the back end. So now I'm going to go back over here and we're just going to go back to our example. So let's go to all pages. And the whole reason why we did this, and the reason why I showed you that was because you can understand how it's kind of set up correctly, right? So, and I'm not going to set up the rest of WordPress. It's another video. So now what I want to do is go to test Elementor page, and now I've got my cool edit with Elementor. So you can go directly there. Now, once you create a page in Elementor, it's not recommended that you go backwards and change it back to and I'll show you that in a second. So here's notifications. You could just skip some of this stuff. So now I have over here on the right-hand side, I've got this structure, right? My navigation. Over here on my left, I've got all the stuff that I can do and add to my page. So you can start with a container, which is going to be like a block and it goes left and right. And then you have grid. So if I add a grid, it's going to give me these boxes where it's going to stack one next to another. And I'll do each one. So let me do this one, container. Notice I've got this one single thing. And over here now on the right-hand side, I've got container. Okay. So the container means it's going to contain stuff. It's going to hold stuff in there. And notice it says container layout flexbox. Okay, so that means that the information is going to flow down the page, and content boxed, or I can do full width. If I select boxed, what it's going to do is all this stuff that's in here. See how this border here and there's a border here? That's the width of your page. But if I select full width, it's going to give me the entire width of the page. So if I want my website to go all the way across left and right, I can set that. So for instructional purposes, I'm just going to set this to boxed. And now I can actually add elements. I can click this plus sign and start adding elements from over here. I can click on image, and it'll give me an image. I could go ahead and I don't have anything on here, so let me just grab this one, media library, which is whatever that is. Okay, and then it's going to tell you to install plugins and blah. You can just bypass it. You could also link the image if you wanted to. You can go to style and you can resize it. So you can say the width of it is 30%, so it makes it smaller. You can center it. You could right justify it. You can left justify it, and you can tinker around with all the settings in here. Okay, so I'll go back to content. So now I go, oh no, I want to add some more stuff. I could either click here to add some more stuff below it, or I can go ahead and go over here on the left-hand side and click on the container again. Now, if I click on that container, it'll actually show me some stuff um, um, that I can edit for the container itself. So say I wanted the entire background to be a different color, I can select that there. Background type is going to be a color. You also have gradient. You can put a video. You can put a slideshow. So I'm going to grab a color and I'll check this little box and I'll make it red. So now I've got a red background, and now I want to add some more stuff in here. So I want to add a heading. So I'll click that, but it's in the wrong space, right? It's underneath where I want it to be. I want this header to be above this stuff. So I can either drag this whole thing above that, but then the container is its own container, right, for this text. But I want the text inside of the red box. So you can just simply grab it here and drag it in there. And so once it highlights, you let it go and it'll show there. Or if it's in here, you can actually grab this and drag it manually that way. So, but notice how it's kind of like, see how it's, so it grabbed the whole container. Now, if I try to grab just this text, I need to grab this little pencil instead, right? So now I'm just grabbing the header. So you can drag it either way, but if you just start trying to drag the text in there, you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to get frustrated. So you always want to grab that little pencil. And then if you grab this, that'll be the entire container. So now I don't need this container at the top of it. It's empty, and I want to get rid of it. I can right-click on it, and I can delete it. So now that's gone. Now this text needs to be a different color. I can highlight it, select that, and then go to Style. I'll change the color. And you get the idea, right? So you can change the color, go to white, and you can change the typography. You can mess around with the fonts. You know, you could center it. You could put it left justify it, right justify it, etc. So say for instance you're lost. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to get back to anywhere. You can click this plus sign for add element. And then it's going to take you back to this here. So now I'm going to show you how this grid one works. So we'll click here and we'll click grid. So see how it gives me these boxes now? So watch, I'll show you how this works. So let's go ahead and just duplicate this. So I can right click on this and select duplicate. And I can go ahead and duplicate it again. And if you look at this, I can do it on the image, or I can do it over here on this structure, and I can go duplicate. So it gives me these 4 images. Now I can just drag them into this grid. Now grab one there. And then let me actually put it underneath it. So let me put it inside the grid. There we go. All right, so let me try to get it in here, grid. I'll grab this one, grid. And then why am I doing this? So watch what happens. So now I've got 3 these boxes. Well, I don't want 3 grid boxes, and the image is at 30% now, right? So each of these images, since I made the first one 30%, when I drag it into these grid boxes, it's gonna be 30% width, right? So I go to image, and then I go back over to style, and I can make this 100%. And I can make this one 100%. Style over here on the left, 100%. And I can make this one 100%. 100%, okay? So now I've got these 3, and now look, it showed me another 4th one. So I'm gonna click over here on the right-hand side, click on grid again, okay? And now if you look at this, it says grid, full width, you can go boxed, and then it's gonna keep it in the box, 1140, grid outline, and then you can turn those off if you don't wanna see it. But columns, look at that. So if I want more columns, I can go like this, and if I keep doing that, it's going to make my images, the grid, go all the way across like that. So on bigger screens, I'll have these 6. But as the screen gets smaller, so let's just duplicate some more of these, and then let me do one more. So now I've got these 6, right? So if I wanted to make it 3, it does 3 like that automatically. Pretty cool. And then if you do 6, and I said, here's my rows. So let me see, 3. You do 2. So I do 2, and I can increase the rows. So you can actually add more rows to it if you wanted to, but let's just leave it at 2. And then you got gaps where you can start doing the column gap, and you could change, put a smaller, gap between them and stuff like that. This links them. So if you want just the gap on the column, but not on the row. So I'll put 0. So now it flushes them all together. So I'll just put that back the way it was. Put that 10. Auto flow row. And if you change it to column, look what happens. It's gonna give you a weird thing. So you could tinker around, play around with this stuff, justify items, align. Then you got extra options, and then the rest of it. There's more advanced stuff in there, but let's go back to the container. So now I want to put this at 6. Let's put it at 6, just so I can show you what I was talking about. So now it's 6 here, and then I'll show you this one too. So let's go to container, and then we will duplicate the container for that one, and that gives me everything in there. So I want to get rid of this entire grid thing because I'm not going to use it. Let's delete that over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this, delete that. And I'm going to take this grid and stick it right there. Okay, so now I got container, grid, container, right? So if I go ahead and look at this in mobile view now, look, so it's going to slip, it goes to 6 again, and then it's going to format itself. This is 30% image, this is 100% image, but look at the grid. The grid stacked the items on top of each other, you see? And then the container stays the same. So we'll go here, and then notice it's got 6, but I can also change that. So let's go to grid, and then let's see if I can change that. So if you notice, there's a little thing here, it says tablet, and then you can change how many columns you want on the different devices. So this is right now, it says tablet, so I'm gonna say I want 3. So now on a tablet, I'm gonna have 3 across. Now if I go to the desktop, I have 6, 3, and then I go to mobile, and I got 1. But see, I want 2 actually, so I'll go 2. So now I've got 2. So see, grid's kind of cool when you want to, quickly edit stuff and align it and make it look a certain way. Really kind of cool stuff. So we'll go ahead and click on Add Element, and then let's add a text editor. This text editor, see, notice how it went right into the grid. But I don't want it there. I want it actually, I'll put it down below here. So let me get rid of this image. I'll right-click on the image and hit Delete. And then this red is pretty ugly, so let's get rid of the container, and then we'll change the background to white. We can hit this clear, and it'll just give me the clear. Now I can take this and just drag it here, and now I've got my cool text in here. But now, if you look at this, you're going to see that I can edit this text and make it do whatever I want. So in here, I'll turn this to an H2 because this is going to be my H1. This will be the page name here. So that's my H2, and then I want to say, hey, James from After Dark is nice. Okay, so now I've got that there. And I can, I can link this up. I can highlight something and then link it here if I wanted to, and paste my URL. Say I wanted to link it to Google, google.com. But if I wanted to link it to an internal page, if I know what the name of one of those pages is, I can just start typing the page like sample, and then it'll bring up the page for me. Then click on that, and then once I'm done, I select apply, and now I've got a link to my thing in there, which is pretty cool. So I also want to have After Dark and make that bold. Let's just bold that out. There we go. Boom. And so now we're done. Now I can do some other stuff. How many columns do I want? 9. Do I want 10? How many columns do I want? 1. 1. So 1 gives me that. And then if I start splitting it up, it'll actually cut this box in half. Okay. So I can also stylize this center. I can do the text color and make that a color there. I can do text shadow. You can do spacing, advanced. This is where you come in and you can do the margins. Like say, now remember you're on the text box itself. So anything that's below it or above the text box is going to have this margin. So if I leave this linked together, it's going to give me margin all the way around. But I don't want a margin all the way around. I just want the margin on the top and the bottom. So I have to unlink these. So I'll go 10 and I'll go 10 here. And now I'm going to have a margin on both sides of those. So if I added something else, like say I added this image here, I'll just drag it over here. So now I drag this image, and notice how I've got this 10 pixel padding. So I can increase this. Let me just do this. I'm sorry, margin. So now there's 100, and then here's 100, right? So margin means it's a distance away from something. So I can also do something where I have padding. So the padding, and we'll do that. That gives me padding. It gives me space inside of my box around, right? So say, for instance, I go to mobile, and you start looking at this. If this didn't have my padding on here, so let's just take this to 0. See, it's going to flush up against the sides, and it looks really bad. So we just do it that way. Okay, boom, boom. All right, so next thing, we'll go ahead and add some other stuff. So you got video, you got a button. So you can add these buttons in here, and then you can align them. So default, you have these quick buttons where is it an info button? Is it a success button? Whatever, warning, danger. And then type, you can say, yeah, click here now. And then you can link to wherever you want to link it to. You can add an icon to it. You can upload your own SVG. Now, if you try to upload the SVG, your website may not allow it. So you may have to add a plugin that allows you to do SVGs. So then there's also the icon library. So you can pick one from here. Let's just pick a bell and hit insert. And then notice it shows in the front of the text here. So go down, it shows in front of the text. You can also put it at the end of the text like that, okay? And then you can also do the icon spacing. So say you don't want it so close, you can do like that. And then you can also give the button its own ID, if you're going to do some custom CSS on it. So next we can stylize it. We can, do the position. We can do the typography of it, make it a different size, things like that. So here's the text color. It's normal, right? The background type is this color image. The background of this button is this color, right? So I'm working on the button now. If you notice, edit button. And then on the hover, it doesn't do anything right now. So I want to make it a color. So background type, I'll make a color. And then I'm going to change, background here. And then I go color, I'll make it red. And now when I roll over it, it gives me a red. Okay. So that's that. And then if I need to center that, I can select position and then it will center it on the page for me. Or I can go stretch all the way, or I can get it on the right, or I can do the center again. Same thing with advanced over here. You can add some stuff. Then you also have the ability inside advanced on each of these elements to be able to add motion, and you can add other cool stuff that's already built into Elementor. So just note, I'm using Elementor Pro. So it does allow me to do some extra things that the regular Elementor doesn't do. So you have this layout, click that, click basic, Pro. So these are all the Pro things, right? You won't have these in regular Elementor. You will have this other general stuff. You will have all kinds of, again, you can go through here and play with all this stuff. Site is just the built-in stuff for, like say I wanted the site logo to show up here at the top. I can put this up here, just left click and I drag it and I'll throw the logo in there. It's going to look weird when it gets in there. But then I can do some more stuff, if I wanted to do site title. I want to put a menu in on this page, but you don't want to do that. You usually want to just do that on your header. Single, this could be the post title. So you're working on a page, you already have the post title here. WordPress stuff is stuff that's built into WordPress already that you can add blocks and meta and video and things. But we'll stick to the layout. So let's go here. I'm not going to go over all this stuff, but just some cool stuff in here. Animated headline, that's pretty cool. Let's try that. So let's go that. Let's drag that in there. And then this page is amazing. So then it gives you cool stuff you can mess around with here. Infinite loop, durations. You can do the shape type, curly. So that's pretty cool. There's some cool stuff in there. You can mess around with that. Now, what I want to do is change the color of that text. So I'll go to style. I'll change this to, or actually that's the color of the thing that's underneath it. That's the shape. So let's see, let's get the headline. Okay, so the headline color here. So it's all, they're all a little different. So I'll make it white. And then what we're going to do is we're going to animate this so that when we get to the page, we go to motion effects here. Motion effects, animate with AI, scrolling effects, sticky, none. So entrance animation. So I can just say fade in and you can mess around with this too. So we'll say fade in and up. So when I get to the page, it's going to do that. Or I can do some other cool stuff, whatever, slide in left there. So whenever I get to the page. So I'm just going to save this and you're just going to see how this looks. I'll go here. I'll publish it up here in the top right. And now I can go ahead and view the page and go to Elementor here. Let's see. Where is the view page on this? Oh, here we go, the eyeball. So we take a look at the eyeball. And now there's my text comes flying in. Here's my cool stuff. Now if I drag the page, notice how it's going to see how it blocks out. Pretty cool. All right, so there we go. But that's how you edit a base page in Elementor, just a regular old page. Now you can set this up however you want. You can also, like I don't like some, I'm going to get rid of all that. So if I click that box, just notice that if you click it, see what happened is I click this to get rid of it. You can hit Control Z for undo. And then I think there's also a history thing. Let me see if it's on here. Site settings, let me see. No, okay. So I thought there was, I'm sure there's a history on here somewhere. I don't know where it is. This thing called globals, this is if you're going to create something and make it a global element. Like say you wanted to use this thing throughout the entire website and you don't want to keep remaking it. You can actually click on the little guy here. You can right click on it and you can select save as global. So what this is going to do is it's going to make it its own little global widget, and we'll call this animated headline. save. So now what it's going to do is it's going to make it and it's going to throw it into these globals. So now if I go and publish it, I'm going to exit out of this page. Now, if I go into a new page, let me go back to pages. So now I have Elementor next to this, so it shows me that I've edited this with Elementor. So let me just go to sample page. So I'm on sample page. I'm going to go ahead and edit with Elementor. And then now I'm on a brand new page. Now here's the thing. I want that cool text on there. I click on globals, and now I can just drag this over, and now I've got my new "this is amazing" over here. But remember that text is white, so if you edit this, you can edit the global widget, right? If you edit the global widget here and you change the text here, on every other page that has white on it, it's going to change whatever color you got. So you want to unlink it first, unlink, and then you want to edit the text if that's the case, right? So if that's what you want to do, then we'll change the text to, there's my blue one, I'll change that guy, and then let's do the heading is white, and we'll change that to red. So now this page is amazing, is just on this page. So if I click on this, I'll go back over here, I refresh. Now I've got this page is amazing, white and blue. And then if I look at this page, you'll see that I've got red and blue. Okay. All right, so if you notice, I've got this bar at the top too whenever I'm logged in. So instead of me having to go to the back end of the dashboard and go and find in the pages, I can just go directly to the page on the front end and then click on edit with Elementor. And then it's going to take me directly into that page so I can edit it. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of the logo. It looks really bad anyway. Delete. Now, why did that logo just say logo? It's because I didn't add any logo in there, right? I don't have a site logo underneath my site. So I'll click on publish. If I wanted that to be the case, you have to add it into your site settings. And you can either go back to the dashboard and go to settings and general and add it there, or you can click on Elementor and you can go here, which says site settings. And then you can actually go here. Let's see where it is, site identity. And then I can add a logo here. So if I add a logo, let's just add that as my logo. And here's my favicon. It recommends you do 512 by 512. It recommends you do 350 by 100. So let's just do this again. We'll go here. Now, what is this going to do? This favicon is the thing that's going to show up here, these little guys, right? At the very top, the little icons that show at the very top of your screen there. Okay, and then site logo. So now I want the site logo. So I'll go ahead and click on Save Changes down here on the bottom left, so it saves the changes. Now I need to go back to this page because I went to site settings. Now I want to edit this page again. So now I'm going to add the site logo back in here. So I go to single, I go to site, I'll put the site logo right there, and now it's going to show my image. But then I can control the size of it and everything as well. So I only want it like 40%, right? Let's do even further. So this is my site logo. I had added it. So now when I drag it on any page, it'll show up that way. Usually you're just going to add that to your header anyway. All right, so page is done, page is done. So now I want something on the left, something on the right. I want it to look a different way, right? So now I can go back down here and go to this plus sign, and I can check Flexbox or Grid. So now I'll just select Flexbox again. And now I want to have 4 columns across. I can do it this way, and then I can add my elements into each one of these things. So I want to have let me do it just a left-right one here. Let's go Flexbox, and then let's just do left-right. So left-right, I mean I want to have an image over here, and then I'm going to put some text over here, text editor here, and then I don't really need this one. So let's see what we got going here. Yeah, let's get rid of that. There we go. Okay. So now I've got text here, and then I want to put a heading above it, right above that, and then I'm going to put a button below that. And put button, right? So drag a button over here. And notice where whenever it's purple, you just let it go, right? And that's where it's going to show up. So say it shows up, it accidentally showed up there. And again, you grab the pencil. It's a little easier. And you drag it down, and it'll show there. Okay, so now I've got my image on the right. I can pick whatever image I want to use, throw it over there. And then I can start typing. Now the text is too high and I want it centered on this window. So you can come through here and you can edit how you want these elements to react with each other, right? So if you look at this, the direction's down. This, see how what it did is it put my text that, and then this does down, and then this will go like that. So this kind of jumps it all around like that. You can justify your content. So here you got align items. So I'll just go center. So that gives me the center on this guy right here. And then I want to, let's see where it is. Here it is. So advanced and then align self, and then see how it's going to center it on the image for you like that. Okay. So you can, again, you can come in here and mess around with some things. And then you've got some transform stuff. So you've got rotate, you've got scale, skew. So let's do scale. And then if you do scale, notice it's going to be a certain size for you here like this, but you don't have any motion set to it, right? So you can scale this stuff and then on hover, I can do scale and then so see what it does, it grows. So that's pretty cool. So let's turn that off. And let's go here, reset that. You just click that reset loop, right? So scale, let's get rid of that, reset. Yeah, pretty goofy. Anyway, let's turn off the hover, reset. There we go. So you have to turn off the hover and you have to turn off the normal in order for it to stop moving around and being all weird, okay? Responsive, so say I don't want this to show on mobile, I can just tick it off. So anytime I get to tablet, it's still going to be there, but if I go to mobile, it's gone. So it won't show. It is going to show gray because it's still part of the elements, but when you look at it on your phone or on your device, it's not going to be there. All this stuff will be moved up. Okay, so I'll turn that back off. Say you don't want this to show on desktop, the same thing, advanced, you go to responsive, and hide on desktop. Same thing's gonna happen. You're on desktop, but then I get the tablet, and then there it is. And I get the mobile, and there it is. I get back to desktop, and it's gone. Okay, that's it. Hopefully this helps you out. Get a little further on with Elementor. Um, and then if you go back to your pages, so exit the WordPress, I'm just gonna leave. So I talked about earlier that if you go ahead and, so notice these are Elementor pages. So if I click on the sample page, it says back to WordPress editor. So what'll happen is, watch, it gives you this notice. Please note that switching to WordPress default editor, your current layout, design, and content may break. No, it will break. So it is going to break. So just hit cancel. So I'm done with all the stuff that I just did. Everything looks great. I just go back over to Updraft Plus again. I'll kick off another backup, and then I save all my changes. So then in case something happens with the website later, at least I can restore a backup and get back to where I started. Okay, hopefully that helps you. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thank you.